Hello everyone, this is James from Tin Robot Games, and this is the Making a Game web series, where you get to follow along as we make a game. In this case, we're reskinning a game that's been in my family for over 100 years. In today's episode, we're going to cover off how to make a prototype.
Resistance to fun is futile.
So you're at the point when you're ready to make a prototype for others to play, to get some playtime on your game and to try it out and see how it goes. When I made my first prototype for our Tanks But No Thanks game that we launched on Kickstarter, it was done simply with the cookie sheet, magnets, and tacks. You can literally make a prototype out of most of the things you find at your local craft store. Now, in some cases, you want to make something maybe a little more close to what the final outcome is going to be. So if you're making a card game, a lot of my colleagues, what they do is they'll take a Magic the Gathering card that has a plastic sleeve on it. They'll print out and cut out their cards on a piece of paper and they slide that in front of the Magic the Gathering card in the sleeve to give it some rigidity, allows them to shuffle the cards, but allows them to also make different changes to that game as they go along and make their tweaks. Now, in my particular case, the game is practically done, so I want to get a working prototype just to work out any final kinks that are in the game, see if there's some things maybe I missed. So I'm going to upload my game to makeplayingcards.com. Now, there's a lot of great other prototypers out there. GameCrafter is a fantastic one, especially if you're making a board game, because there's a lot of different pieces and so forth that you can get that are standard or generic that you can add and kind of comprise your game to make a prototype or two. Now, because I want my prototype back fairly quickly, I'm going to upload my game to makeplayingcards.com. I should be able to get this back in about a week. Now, when you do your first round on a site like makeplayingcards.com, there's different levels of quality you can order, right up to professional poker style that you would find in a casino. You can get, the air finish. You can have, a matte lamb finish. All these different types of finishes, different weights of your cards. I would recommend going with the lowest tier out of the gate. Work out your kinks. It's always fine to then come back and do another prototype with a higher quality once you worked out those kinks. So we're going to do that today. So first thing you're going to do in this case is going to go to makeplayingcards.com. Scroll down, pick prototype. That allows me to upload images both to the front and the back. And for the faces of the cards, it's going to be as simple as just dragging and dropping JPEGs onto the screen. And then as I get through to the screens where I choose my back, I've actually come up with the old Scottish arms to put on the back of my card. At the end, I do my checkout, choose my shipping method, the number of prototypes I want. I'm going to order a few in this case because I have some family members that want to try it out. I should get this in about a week and a half. So a week and a half later, your cards come in, and this is what I got back for prototypes. And I gotta tell you, this is just an amazing moment. Every time I do a game where I get my first production quality game back, it's a bit of an emotional moment where you look at it and think of all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that creation of that game. And to see it as close as it is to something that you would actually buy on a shelf, it almost takes your breath away. It is quite a moment. So I'm so glad I actually did this first prototype because I've learned a lot. And I went and play tested this with my family, actually with my grandmother who's 101, and see how she reacted. So she's used to playing the other game with a regular deck of cards. See her playing with this deck of cards. I very quickly were able to spot some things I need to change immediately for this to work. So the first is I noticed when the deck of cards was sitting on the table, I don't know if you can see this, but about midway through where I have the castle cards, they're a lighter card. And because I didn't put a border around the outside of my card and the graphics bleed off the edge, depending on the card, you're gonna have a different color getting to the edge of the cards, which is fine until you put them on a stack on the table and you're drawing cards. You can kind of get a sense for what card is coming up next. That's gotta change. Got to put a border around these. I think I'll probably go with a black border. I think it just fits the style of the cards. The second thing is the cards are way too dark. So if you look at this is the dog with the red background, way too dark. The other thing I noticed is when you fan these cards out, you can't tell which card is which is not great when you're trying to keep the cards close to you. You're trying to sort through to pick out which card is which for your pairs. It's not going to work. So I need to make some adjustments to these cards so that it's easy when you fan it. My plan is to actually put the name and like a little ribbon or a banner describing what each of these cards are right in this area. So as you fan them, you can tell the difference and have those color coded. I'm going to lighten up the background. Some of the backgrounds, I think I might even change the color. So they're a lot more vibrant and really a contrast versus the other cards. So it's easier to tell the different cards apart. As part of that, because I'm going to put the band on this side, the coin that's in the bottom left-hand corner, top left-hand corner, I think I'm going to actually drop that down to the bottom. So those are some quick changes. So I'm going to put a black border around the outside, move the coin, ribbon on the side, and I'm going to make these cards a lot more punchy. So for the next prototype I do, I'll come back and I'll show you where we landed on that. I think we'll be much closer to what the finished game would be. But I'm super glad I did this because those are some pretty catastrophic mistakes that would have been made had I put this on Kickstarter or went to a full production run and found out after I had all these cards made. So this is why it's so important to put a little bit of money into getting a prototype done. Number one, so you can just do some play testing with friends and family. There's nothing like play testing with an actual deck of cards or a real prototype of a game versus cardboard cutouts. It's just more engaging. Secondly, is to catch these errors. So that's this episode on prototypes. Thank you so much for being part of this journey with me. If you found anything helpful, please give me a subscription down below. Hit the bell icon. That'll update you, notify you of future episodes. Once again, this is James from Tin Robot Games.
Resistance to fun is futile.